what we got on this nerd front? Because a lot of stuff has been going on. Our illustrious silent colleague over here, he kind of went off on
but you know what?
Marvel and Taika.
It was respectable.
It was respectable.
It was needed.
It was needed.
You know, given these DC people, you know,
DC. Do you think DC's gonna pick up Waititi?
Stop it. Nobody needs to pick him up. Leave him right where he is.
I mean,
honestly, dude,
leave him right where he is.
I gotta echo the sentiment. It's just no, dude. I found that most of these new directors, what's his name? Ruin Johnson. Dipshit. All of these new jacks are that's an old school term.
Now it's time for a breakdown.
They think that I'm a new jack, but only if they knew that. They who think wrong are they who can't do that style that I'm doing.
Y'all might want to look that up. Yep.
Swing.
New jack.
Swing.
Yes, Lord!
The point is they always think that they need to subvert expectations, so to speak.
Yeah,
so Ryan Johnson thought that Star Wars was going this way, so he thought it should go this way. That's not his place or his job. And Taika's job was not to do what he said he was going to. I think he said something about, well, let's find out.
Let's find out what the fans don't want on Reddit, and then that'll be the next Thor film for me.
What they don't want us to do, and then we'll do that.
We'll do that until they like it.
Because the challenge for me is then to make something to make them love it. You know,
dude, that's not your job, your place, or anything. And I don't understand how they allowed that film to pass, but it's already been talked about.
Don't you ever let Taika Waititi direct another Marvel movie.
I really want to start with the internet when it's talking about Phase 4 of Marvel, like Marvel doesn't know what Marvel is doing. When I really sat back and looked, they didn't hit every note. But they told a story that needed to be told to set up for Phase 5.
All that was setups.
Yeah, all of that was set up. But
it was like first issue comic books. That's all that was.
But since a good majority of the fans aren't comic book readers, they just like, oh, it's just bad.
Oh, what's your name, big brother?
Dwight. Derek.
Big Dwight, what's your opinion on the movie?
What I was actually saying to him was I thought it was ideal the way that they flipped the script where they were able to move, what was his name?
Chadwick Boseman
out, and then was able to slide the sun in so the movie can keep growing and growing. You'll see that it's gonna fest itself and get larger and larger. So I thought that was neat. Where they were able to do that.
Right. Your opinion, brother?
I'm cool with it. I'm kind of disappointed that we kind of went away from the beautiful and wondrous Wakanda and kind of went to that other culture, the other world that they were trying to introduce. I get it, but I think we needed another movie to kind of continue to like. They're gonna
make another movie for Namor, and then
they kind of had them on their own.
Yeah,
but they used Black Panther to introduce them.
Like they do everything.
I'm just like,
you wanted more of that.
I wanted more Wakanda. I ain't really want whatever they call that world, but I understand they had to introduce that world somehow.
I understand where you're at. And the other question, do you read the comic books?
No, I don't.
No. Okay.
Need we say more?
So they really missing a boat and saying and giving negative reviews on stuff that they don't know what they're talking about. Same thing like what they did with WandaVision. Same thing they did with the Eternals. Same thing they did with She-Hulk.
It just becomes annoying, man. It's not really what people say. It's the amount that
it's the amount they say with the ignorance and the lack of information that they say.
Like, you just keep spewing the same thing every time. I can't even go on my phone, even if I'm not trying to find something, it's there. And you literally don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like you don't have the history, you don't know the point, you don't have the value, but you continue to just pummel the people with the same garbage over and over again. And it's like, I didn't like that because it wasn't the last of the same as before. Well, when Iron Man came out, there was no Iron Man before that. They set the blueprint. You didn't like it before that because it didn't exist. So now you want the same thing here and there. And when they switch it up, then when She-Hulk is 20 years old, they're gonna be like, yo, that came from She-Hulk. I like it because you saw it.
The other thing that I saw was people calling it the MCU.
This is just a term I coined for something Kevin Feige invented.
What?
I didn't even see that.
And
most famous case from my standpoint was the one I had a 17-year-old girl.
Both parties have agreed to dismiss their court cases and have their dispute settled here in our forum, the People's Court.
There is an agenda in Hollywood, and it's to get rid of white men.
The People's Court, case number 3031. All rise, please.
You may be seated.
Well, let's try and find out just what the deal was between these litigants as they tell their stories to Judge Wapner.
I know you've been sworn. I have read your complaint, ma'am. Frankly, I don't understand it.
As a woman, it seems like it's a shift in the entire MCU. I hate the MCU.
Well, I just don't understand what the basis of your claim is.
I hate it. I hate the MCU slogan. I hate it.
What's your defense to this?
The MCU exists.
MCU.
The MCU. What's the MCU? The MCU. The MCU.
The MCU.
It's part of the reason that it's called the MCU.
The MCU is real.
MCU full-on mode.
Problems with the MCU.
When we talk about the MCU,
we
first have to define what it actually is.
MCU.
The MCU is male characters being diminished and being surrounded by female character clone, replacing men with women who act like men.
And it's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated.
Degrading the male character.
The women are always saving the men around here. You might want to think about changing the name to X-Women.
What? What? What the fuck?
To lift up the female character.
Because I'm better than you?
Us persecuted white men have been replaced. It's official. It's happened. Hollywood has taken us down.
Every Avenger seems to have a female version now.
This is all factually accurate.
Is the MCU real?
Wake up!
The origins of the MCU, of course, come from agenda, ego, hubris, embarrassment, activism, identity politics, and diminishing returns.
I hate the MCU.
Kevin Feige was asked if there would be more female representation in the MCU, and he said yes, eventually there'll be more female heroes than male heroes, and that was the inception of the MCU.
But it has to be true. If people are lying on YouTube, I don't know what the reason could possibly be. Why else would a bunch of middle-aged white guys say things like that unless it was factually accurate? Unrelated, but if you have a hard time picking up on obvious sarcasm, you might want to check out different videos than this one.
The notion of the MCU is the Marvel Cinematic Universe being taken over or dominated by female characters.
Then we started to see it creeping in with films like Doctor Strange, changing the Ancient One from an Asian man to a Celtic woman. The Wasp and Ant-Man. Ant-Man was a bumbling idiot, and there was Wasp, who was a great character from the comics, played by a decent actress who was just blandly superior.
Taught me that kick, remember?
Yeah.
And Ghost, the villain that nobody remembers but was the first in a long line of tragic, misunderstood female antagonists. Then there was Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, needlessly gender-swapping Marvel into Annette Bening.
The funny thing about the Negabands on the TV show is that they're actually meant to be a big callback to the OG version of Captain Marvel, the very first version, who was a man called Mar-Vell, who did appear during the Captain Marvel movie in the MCU, but he was played by Annette Bening, so they changed the character just a little bit.
What? Ex-women.
What?
You bitch!
You gotta be fucking kidding.
But he was played by Annette Bening, so they changed the character just a little bit.
Then, of course, we had that girl power scene in Avengers Endgame. Then it was just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So what is the MCU?
I hate the MCU.
The MCU is ridiculous gender swaps, self-taught mastery.
I wasn't allowed to train with the boys, but I watched everything they did and taught myself to do it better.
I taught myself. You taught yourself that magic?
Yeah, I did.
You were just a child when the TVA took you, but you nearly took down the organization that claims to govern the order of time. You did it on your own. You had rings around them. You're amazing.
The MCU character requires constant affirmation.
I like this one.
Every day more people love you. You'll find refuge wherever you go.
I didn't think there could be another Captain America until I met you.
Along with the constant denigration of the male character.
Touch. I'm a narcissist.
Listen to your mom. She knows better.
Twisted morality like with WandaVision.
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
Just let us die.
It wouldn't change how they see me.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
She's just a kid.
There's still people in there. This is the only language these people understand.
I agree with your fight.
And Captain Marvel.
Here's a proposition for you. You're gonna give me your jacket, your helmet, and your motorcycle, and in return, I'm gonna let you keep your hands.
Take it.
Young girls inexplicably starting massive criminal organization, bad dads, girl bosses, and of course, the bait and switch, which brought us female Loki, female Hawkeye, and female Thor is next, to be followed by female Iron Man.
The major concern of this is that the pending dominance is happening at the expense of the iconic established male characters, not for the sake of storytelling, but for the sake of agenda.
Doctor Strange
Multiverse of Madness!
and Thor in their own movies were treated this way.
It has a white male lead, but it also has a female lead in it. It's Wanda. Doctor Strange was sidelined in his own film for the woke agenda. She's pretty much this movie, is what I'm told, and now I totally see it. We're all sitting there thinking at the time, hey, this is a fun, empty calorie movie, but after reflection, I definitely see that, yep, Doctor Strange, I mean, wow, he was in it a lot, but was he in it a lot? Wanda was in it a lot too, and so I think there's something going on there. There's definitely something happening.
In an effort to lift up the female characters, they feel like they need to tear down the legacy male character.
You don't know anything.
There's only one problem I have with the entire concept of the MCU and how it's being executed. It's for some reason the Marvel writers and executives and Kevin Feige believe that they must degrade, belittle, tear down, and make the male characters, especially the ones from the comic books, the legacy characters, as bad as possible in order to prop up the female characters.
Spider-Man No Way Home. And I know what you're thinking. There's 3 white protagonists there. We got 3 Spider-Mans in this movie. Yeah, at the end. But let's be honest with ourselves. Most of the film was propping up Zendaya. She had all the good snappy one-liners, and it's a black woman, a strong female lead. She was perfect in the movie. And what did Tom Holland do? Screw up the entire thing. And Doctor Strange screwed it up too. Guess who didn't screw anything up? Zendaya. Strong female lead. Yes, the other Spider-Man did help fix it. Hey, it wouldn't have been broken in the first place if Zendaya was in charge. Zendaya.
She-Hulk. Who do we have first? We have Black Widow, Wanda. Those are the 2 that were out there at the initial, right? Well, Widow was the first. Yeah. And Pepper Potts was there. Okay, and then next round,
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
Monica Rambeau.
Monica came.
And WandaVision.
Yep.
Valkyrie slid in there.
Valkyrie was in there. Thor. Lady Sif was out.
Sif.
Okay.
Agent Carter,
Peggy Carter, yep. And
Agent 13.
Yep.
And then what's Val?
Val came later.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Gamora and Nebula. Okay.
And what's her name?
Yeah. She's she's a celestial Madonna.
Mantis.
The Mantis. So, heads up for the geniuses who don't know, but those women were already in the Marvel Universe. They've been in the Marvel Universe since we were reading comic books as children. But there's more women out there. There's Kitty Pryde. There's Storm. There's Sue Storm. There's what is the Lilandra from the Shi'ar Empire. There's Namorita, the Lady Dorma. There's women all over the damn place. And I don't know why they thought that it was a big feminist thing.
Wrong!
What I found with She-Hulk, when the Hulk was telling her that she was a Hulk now, and she had to basically take responsibility for that. And well,
I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day. I will get called emotional or difficult or might just literally get murdered.
Hold up.
Literally get murdered.
I've told you 1,000,000 times, do not exaggerate!
The victims, we know them so well.
What the hell is the world coming to?
And everybody's like, "Woo, you go, girl." Cool. Some dudes got upset, but the part that they missed out on was the lack of accountability. I guess you would say a lot of women, and I'm not being jacked up about it, but the accountability part, when something happens between man and a woman, sometimes depend on their maturity level. Let's go with maturity level first. That she won't accept responsibility for her part, and it's always, well, if you didn't and you made me do this, or you made me do this. No. And what I saw with She-Hulk was the other side of that. It wasn't her feminist rant. It was the fact that she wasn't accepting the responsibility of all that power that she was
denying
just
it
got.
the whole time.
Right.
That was the whole.
And eventually she comes into it.
I told David, like, I'm not. It was good. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I said, this is the closest to a comic book I've ever seen in my life. I told somebody, I'm not happy that it's exactly like the comic book.
Exactly like
and
the
I was trying to
comic
explain
book.
to I said that to somebody. This is exactly like no story connects.
Nothing. She has a story every book.
For every book is something different.
Every book, and then down the line, everything connects with other characters, with the Fantastic Four, with the Avengers. But her books are just.
And that's why I was telling David, I said, bro, I'm not mad at the story because it's perfect. And most people have never. I read the She-Hulk book because I like to read everything.
You know, incidentally, that was the last book that Stan wrote.
Really?
She-Hulk. Wow. That book was the last one he put his hands on. Before he
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Tidbit.
Yeah. And I was like, this is too close for me. Because it's like, it's just random. It was so random for me. And I was, because I'm used to the story. Everything has been a story. And she's a blip. She's a blip.
And that's her job.
Yep. That's why when she breaks the fourth wall, it's so natural because
she broke it before Deadpool broke it.
And I was explaining it to somebody else.
Nobody got that part. Yep.
And I was and that was just too much for me. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Well, I'm not a Deadpool fan.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about She-Hulk was too much for me.
Broke it.
Because I was like, dude, this is not going. I don't understand.
She's like, y'all keep forgetting this is my show, right?
Yeah, like everything was everything played out perfect. It wasn't a problem for me with character development and all that people were having problems with. It was just too much like a comic book for me.
My biggest issue with Marvel right now is the comedy.
There's no ding-donging or bum rushing, especially not Zeus's bum.
You cannot come to the old.
Num, eat it up. Go play okay, 3, 2, 1. You know I'm the hottest. You ain't never gotta heat me up.
Let's bring the rainbow.
Bring the rainbow, is that a catchphrase or something? How many catchphrases have there been?
Are you thinking what I think you're thinking?
I'm thinking it.
What are we thinking?
Thinking what?
I'm thinking it too.
But what about Thor? Chris Hemsworth is Thor. He's being replaced by Natalie Portman. And how many times has he even got to play the character, really? Thor 1? Thor 2? Thor 3? Avengers Infinity War? Avengers Endgame? Thor Love and Thunder? Chris Hemsworth barely got to play the character. Only like 9 times, plus some web shows and other spin-offs. That's the one where at some point he's probably or maybe being replaced by Natalie Portman. And that also triggers me that she has bigger muscles than I do. That's just not fair. I mean, that's not right. That's not natural. And so I'm offended by that as well.
I'm over the jokes.
WB.
Yeah, I'm over.
That's what they go for.
I'm over that.
You will not. You will not.
Yeah.
Bring that frog. You better have a dancing frog on this clip.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
Y'all leave Michigan J out of it.
Listen,
Michigan J's my dude. But I'm over the all the jokes and the comedy.
Me too.
I don't watch Deadpool because I'm just not a fan of butt jokes.
What in the ass?
I'm just not that dude.
I'm gonna melt you down and make a cock ring.
I don't like water hoses stuck up asses. If I'm not mistaken, I think the girl plugged him in the first movie or something. You know, like it's too much. It's too much. So I mean, I'm serious, man.
No,
this
I know.
is jacked up, dude.
I know.
When in that episode where Taika was talking about
What? It's about normalizing it. It's about normalizing that kind of stuff between two friends. Hey, the Greeks started it. Okay?
Like, is that really their agenda and their job
Absolutely.
to normalize that? That's like, yo, dude.
Yeah, that's not.
That falls under what goes on in a person's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't give a damn about the sexuality part.
Sexuality is all you ever need. Sexuality, let your body be free.
Now, damn it, that's how you do it. Absolutely. Yes.
What goes on in your personal private bedroom does not belong in a film.
Hold on, but see, then someone can question. That's what comics have always been about.
No.
Hold on.
No. I read them. No.
Let me get finished. So
no,
they would say.
I don't care what they say.
I care what they say. Go ahead, Dave. I want to hear what they say.
See, you know, duck hunt. Duck hunt.
I like to know in what Deadpool book he took it up the butt.
Bazinga.
Shut up.
I'm not talking about Deadpool.
I'd like to know that.
I'm on a plane, and everywhere I look, every screen is my husband in a sex montage throughout the holidays with another woman, because everybody wants to watch Deadpool on the plane. Everyone. But like for 14
That's a
hours,
little
having your
awkward.
husband having like mashed potatoes eaten out of his butthole.
Not talking about Deadpool.
David Jesus.
Oh yeah, all right. Well, hold on.
That's in the film.
Hey, I'm just asking.
It's a cruel and unusual form of torture. And then my daughter goes, Dad, because she thinks it's like FaceTime.
Oh, sure, of
and
course.
it's because Daddy's, getting it. In
No, yeah.
The mashed potatoes.
No, of course, the mashed potato scene. Yeah, I have it on my screensaver.
Yeah, okay. Hey, I'm just asking.
Adios, mio.
Hey, man. Anyways, back. No, man.
What I'm saying is, they could say, oh, when the black exploitation when that was going on, then that's when you had like Muhammad Ali knocking out Superman.
What?
Or it was always pushing the boundaries of what was already going on in society and implementing those things. So they could argue they are doing that which was done in the comics, but just doing it on the cinematic level. However, the difference in that is a lot of people don't like agendas being forced upon them that has been going across cinema.
It's not an agenda. It's an agenda.
Okay.
The society thing you said was a very good point.
Of quotations, I will put it
Yeah,
down
you
there.
don't need any quotations because it makes no sense to me. All the butt stuff, man.
It's not needed.
All the extras, all that.
People are putting their personal feelings, thoughts, what they think is funny.
And the characters
into
that
those
were around
characters.
before they were born.
And that's the problem.
And these characters have a history. It didn't start in the movies.
That's what happened with Star Wars, because they thought it was their personal way to do whatever they wanted to do with the story. I personally think the story should go this way. It's already written. That's the whole point of the combo. That's why we've always had these discussions. That's why we had a problem with DC.
I think behind you, you can see it. 3PO and R2 are behind you. Leia's over there. I'm a Star Wars dude. I love Star Wars. I haven't watched any series since that last when the green thing showed up in Boba Fett. Because I don't care anymore. Yeah, I know how it ends. Somebody, have you seen Andor? I know how it ends. So what are you going? They're going retroactive and telling stories that happened before because they have nothing to tell afterwards. Because they killed it. It's literally dead. in the water.
I'm
Is it
sorry.
not?
It's not funny, but
It's the truth, right?
I don't know if the camera was on his face, but he's like, it's dead in the water.
It's dead.
I'm sorry.
Star Wars is dead.
Oh my God, that was
They
funny.
killed Star Wars as far as the story and anywhere to go. It ended with that girl, Supergirl, or whatever, who took Luke's name.
I'm Rey. Rey who? Rey Skywalker.
She just
But that was-
arbitrarily named herself Skywalker,
But that
buried
was
this
my
shit in the
point.
sand, and went on about her business. So what does Andor or Boba Fett, which was garbage, again?
Well, Andor was good. Andor was really
I don't
good.
care.
I don't care.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I just want to say,
If you
normally
like
that's my line.
Yeah.
Everybody, that's my line.
Yeah,
But
it's
my
over.
camera?
all this personal stuff, though. Like, I don't. As me being a Spider-Man fan, I won't do what I personally think should be done. I will do what got me to be a fan in the first place.
What Spider-Man is
What
about.
it got me.
Right.
So whatever gets you to be a fan. But then another thing is, a lot of these people aren't fans. They're just directors who got a job.
No, that MCU. Well, yeah, that part.
They're just directors who got a
also,
job, bro.
if you really notice, a lot of these directors are new directors.
Yep.
Like
They're
some
easy
of,
to control.
Yeah, some of
They
them.
want a job.
Yeah, no.
Hold on, wait a minute. If
Some of them are good. Some
If
of
they're
them,
easy
yeah.
to control, then why we ain't controlling the shit to go in the right direction?
Started to make products for stupid people. We didn't used to do that. We used to make products for ourselves, and then stupid people would have to adapt. But now there's so many of them, they've become a marketing demographic.
Talk to me about just that real world aspect of that kind of like female empowerment in the bathroom like that.
Who authorized this shit? That scene is so important to me. Like, and I had to really go to bat for that scene.
Oh, no shit, Sherlock.
Because a lot of people didn't understand why it was so important. Because if you look at it from the surface level, you're like, it's kind of an extraneous scene. It doesn't really serve a plot purpose. You could really get through the story and you could cut it and, you would still understand what was happening in the story. But I was like, this is the single most important scene in that entire episode to me.
Can you believe this motherfucking shit?
Because it really shows like the magic and the protective like warmth of the women's bathroom. It is a beautiful and safe environment. For some reason, when you get past the magic barrier of the women's bathroom door, it is the most protective and loving and supportive environment. A girl that you meet in the bathroom of a club will go and like help you bury your dude if you need her to.
Go, 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 shawty. It's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck, is that your birthday? You can find me in the club, bottle full of.
Now, back to my point about the internet. Once you do something so good, meaning starting from Iron Man 1 and being consistent, now the audience is used to your grade A product. Where do you go from there?
You got to set up the next phase with new characters.
No. Even but I'm talking about as far as what we've seen, how characters are being handled. I mean, how IP is being handled.
Who?
from the writing.
Who?
No, I'm talking about in totality.
Okay, let's not use the internet terms. How
Intellectual
the
property.
How the universe is being
okay.
set up. Yeah. Because see,
Now hold on, folks.
Yeah.
He got on me earlier for using regular words in regular conversation.
No.
Now I'm using my collegiate word.
My collegiate.
My collegiate word.
That wasn't collegiate. that was an acronym, man.
My collegiate.
That's like
baby.
LOL, and it's the shortness of a language. Man. I mean, let's just. Let's help these people use. I know you are. Let's help these people use their brains. IP. The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
He laughing because he know what I'm talking about.
I forgot what he said.
Yeah.
Worm. I don't know what the hell he said. It was something crazy. I was like, what?
Oh, you what? I said, let's mob out. I said,
Mob out. Yeah.
Mob out. You know mob out.
Yeah.
He's like, what is that?
He said, yeah. He said, yeah, Parks is about to be done what he's doing. Then I guess he'll be able to mob out.
Yeah.
What? What the hell are you talking? Then he said, mob out. You know what I'm saying? I said, you went to college, right? You know, Jack?
Why do I gotta use all these
please?
ACT words
because
in regular conversation?
Yeah, because
it's just between us and not in front of all these beautiful people.
It ain't in front of, it's in front of the mirror. The shorter your language, the shorter your brain fires. And the more short you go, the less you use your brain. But that's just me.
I could not.
It's just me.
You were saying.
Anyway, back to your point, because your point was rocking.
Yes.
I apologize.
You were saying.
Oh, okay. Let me back up.
We have months we haven't done this, so this is why, that part.
All right, so when, and I'm talking about the audience, okay? So since Marvel, since 2008, up to, let's just say the whole first.
All of it.
All
the way to Infinity.
All Infinity.
Endgame. Yeah.
They've been, I want to say spoon-fed, but been given a product that has been top-notch for the most part, all the way through consistency at the highest level of cinema. Because let's just be very clear. Marvel, the MCU, single-handedly carried Hollywood for, I don't want to say since 2008, but, you know.
Man, Alita Battle Angel was bad as hell. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was. Anyways. It was great.
What the hell are you talking about?
Those
I'm not going to say nothing. I ain't going to say nothing.
Let it go.
But go ahead.
That was Paramount, G. That was Paramount.
Hey, let it go. So
Ninja stars are everywhere.
So you have see what happens when we get back in the room together, guys. So,
oh man,
you know, arguably, Ben carrying, you know, Hollywood, even though it's at the top, they're expecting something more.
They don't know what they're looking at.
But that's the second part.
That's their biggest problem.
But I also think that's a part of it too, of the level of I don't want to say
expectation.
Yeah, expectation and
they're
something big and something more.
But they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know
what's coming.
Kamala Khan plays in there. They don't know
the important
what Hawkeye plays.
Kate Bishop.
What she plays, what Yelena plays, what the Thunderbolts are. They don't know anything about that. So they just mad.
And I can hear the stands now. You're just intimidated by strong women. Well, if your idea of a strong woman is a blandly written character underperformed by an overpaid adult pretender standing in front of a green screen, I would just respond with, maybe you should try to touch some grass instead of smoke it. So that's the MCU. We're not the ones overcorrecting and turning them into men like with King Valkyrie. You can express any type of message if you prioritize good storytelling, but you cannot get good storytelling when you prioritize the message.
I hate the MCU.
Why don't you please be quiet? You haven't satisfactorily answered the question.
It's just a term I coined.
That's the point, sir. And I don't believe you. Just to be blunt, sir. To be perfectly blunt, I don't believe you. And that's what this case turns on. It turns on credibility. And I don't believe you, sir, because I don't. When you judgment is for plaintiff.
So,
but when they get it,
it's gonna be like, mind blown.
Oh wow, yeah.
It's a bunch of children, man.
Wow,
this is the same thing.
Yeah.
The American public, whatever, are a bunch of children.
I looked back at the films that have been released the last couple years, and I was incredibly shocked by what I was finding. And you can see for yourselves that there's definitely an agenda here, and the white man... We're being phased out.
Yes.
Sarcasm. On the DC side of things, we have the Batman. And yes, I know, it's another huge film with a white male lead, but there is Catwoman in it, and she's black. A strong female lead! Wow. Unreal. Catwoman was white in the past, and also black a couple of times too. But it's more pronounced now because it's in 2022. So now I look at that and say, yep, this is on purpose for reasons. Sarcasm. Oh, and let's not forget that in this 3-hour movie, there was a single line that shook the foundation we stand on. White privilege. How dare you? How dare you? Honestly, I didn't really think about it at the time because Catwoman said it's Batman. It was like a jab at him, which was kind of funny. But then I was triggered by people tweeting, and then I thought, wow, yeah, I didn't think about it that way. We're the victim. Now we have to have black cats and blue dogs and everything else but white. And I'm offended. It's about time, right? Wrong! Not? So yeah, I guess they're still... But they'll probably get sidelined in their own movie because that's what they do in Hollywood. They sideline the white man. I'm so sick of it. Look at all these examples I've given you recently of films that, yes, all starred white guys and are like hugely big movies, but there was things that I could find and poke holes that could maybe lead down a couple roads, and I could say, yeah, I mean, man, there's stuff happening. At the point we're going, the Batman 3 is gonna have him identify as a chicken or a transgen or who knows what. I mean, the whole world is a ball of fire, and we're just trying to stay cool, if you want.
I tell you, it's coming. This is it. Dad, it's not as good as last time. I don't know. And then we get it. Oh, this is amazing. What did I tell you? It's coming. It's gonna be, but it's not what I did last time.
So society lacks patience.
They do.
And what
it's childlike manners,
but
bro.
you get patience from experience.
They don't got no experience.
And because they don't know what they're looking at, they're impatient about it.
But it's not really impatient. They give false I guess you could say false reviews because they don't know what they're looking at.
You know what you said it?
Obviously, I'm being incredibly sarcastic. I don't believe a word of what I'm saying. I think it's insane that people believe this shit. It's the scripts we should be bothered by. The hacky writing. Your precious white male-driven films aren't going anywhere. We still have our John Wicks. We still have our Mission Impossible. They will probably at some point ruin Die Hard and cast a younger character actor to play him. We still have our James Bond movies. And yes, the last one proved that he wasn't replaced by a strong female.
My dog stepped on a bee.
Lead. You can say I'm woke, I'm white knighting. I just want to watch movies. Like, who gives a shit? As long as the movie's good, I don't care.
Case is finished. Heard all the evidence I'm going to hear.
I rest my case.
Thanking you for joining us and reminding you, if you're involved in a dispute such as this with another party and you just can't seem to work it out, don't take the law into your own hands. You take them to court.
We out.
Peace.